This video covers a real-world trick that will help all of your work go faster, and it's all about learning how to render faster in Adobe After Effects. This is a 4K clip, and I'm only viewing it at 25% because I never want to work at full resolution if I can avoid it, because that slows things down, and working at smaller res is obviously faster, but everybody probably knows that. The other thing is, let's say you wanted to render out this clip here, and you can see as I move to a different point in time, it's really slow to load. You can see the progress bar going here. I've got a ton of layers. I got depth of field. I got some overlay lighting effects with a lens flare, and I got some vignetting around the edges. So if I render this out, you'll see I'll just hit spacebar, render a few seconds out of the work area. This is going to take a little while because of everything that's going on. I'll fast forward the video so you don't have to suffer through that. Now we can see that we've got this green bar letting us know that we've loaded a preview into RAM. Let's see how we can reuse that RAM. So I'll hit spacebar again just to stop playing, and we'll go to composition. If you're like me and you hate Adobe Media Encoder, then you go right to the render queue here. I will make this a little bit bigger. What I've got is a couple things to note here. So I'll click on the settings tab here. I've got my quality set to best by default. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go to current settings, and I got my resolution set to full, and I'm going to go to quarter here because, like I mentioned, we are at 25% scale and we're at quarter resolution, and I'll leave everything else as is, and I'll go in here for lossless. I'm going to go with QuickTime. I'll keep that. I'll go to format options, and I'll go to Apple ProRes. It's a very good quality codec, and I'll hit OK. That's pretty much it. We'll pick a name, and let's just, that'll be good. This doesn't have to be anything special, and I'll throw that onto my desktop and hit save. Now we'll render that out, and you'll see something. This render goes really fast. That is pretty much it. You'll see you got your render. You got this file here that you could open up. Basically, we've got a video that we could use. It's a high quality render, and the file size, if we look at it, it'll be slightly big. This is a good file size for showing people on your computer. I could email this to a client, but what I usually do to get the file size down is just drop this into Handbrake. So then what I would do is open up this free app called Handbrake. So if you haven't, I definitely recommend using it. You just drop your footage into the app. You probably want to rename it so you don't overwrite anything, and just hit the play button. So it's a pretty small file, so it renders fast, and if we look at the info for the one we just made, you'll see that, well, let's get this thing out of the way. It is now 1 megabyte, whereas the original render was 20 megabytes. So the quality still will be pretty good. You'll see some artifacting and a little bit lowering of the quality, but it's still very good and very easy to email a client. Now, the last tip is, once you've done all this, let's just say let's close out of here and we go back, and we wanted to render a different part. So we go from here to here, and then go to composition and go to add to render queue. Now, what I like is I could set a preset for this, but I don't like creating too many presets because I know I've got all my settings here in this previous render. So what I like to do to save time is delete this one here, just hit delete, and then you could select the one we just did before, right click on it, go to duplicate with file name, and it'll give me all the same settings. If I click on this here, you'll see it's got the same settings that I used last time. It's got the current settings, it's got this set to quarter, and so everything is saved. It's got the same file name, so you would have to, name that something else, but we've just basically taken the settings from this one. You could make presets by clicking this little down arrow and making a template, but I use so many different versions of sizes and settings that making templates just gets overwhelming and hard to use, and I find the duplication method works really well. So those are some tips for rendering faster in After Effects.